Hey, how you doing?
All right, we're recording the meeting, so I need a lot of effects.
I was gonna say, look at
Alright.
his background. I gotta go step it up now.
Yeah. Brandon, can you hear us? Do, 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 do. I have some tabs open. Oh. Hi, Jason.
Hello, how's it going?
How's it going?
Not too bad.
Let's see. We have someone tuning in soon from the UK to hear Rachel.
Oh, nice.
Oh shit! I'm recording. I'm giving away all the secrets.
I like that little room you're in.
Which one of
Michael.
us?
I don't know, your little library thing you have.
Thank you.
It's very cozy.
Thank you.
Don't judge me. I still have all my Christmas stuff up. I'm just not in the mood to deal with it.
Hey, Tyrone. You can't hear me. So yeah, we're a little bit early. So we're just schmoozing a little bit till people join, and then we'll start like around 6 in a few minutes, maybe 6:02.
I've been waiting for an hour.
Come on.
Seriously, I got a notification at like 5 o'clock saying I'm starting. It was 6 minutes late. I logged in, and I've been waiting for an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyone that's not talking, maybe mute yourselves. And hey, Michael. Hey, let's see.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, guys? Hey, Ricky. Hey, Brian.
What's up? What's up?
I'm good. Your Bible thing, Brian, is upside down. Good stuff.
And we can't hear you.
Wait, it's showing upside down on your side? On my side, it's showing it's right.
It's upside
So
down, man.
check off non-mirrored, or it says something about, I forget the exact wording, but if you just check off that little mirrored box, it will
Got
flip it
it.
around.
You're the best. Here I'm trying to be like that.
Everyone that's joining, welcome. If you don't mind muting yourselves, unless you want to say something, feel free to unmute yourself. But just to make sure that only the speakers are heard.
I want to say what's up to David. Haven't talked to you in a while. Hope you're doing good, man.
Hello, everybody.
I'm just gonna mute everyone just really quickly, and feel free to turn it back on if you want to say anything. Oh, now it's too quiet.
Where's your stand-up routine?
How you been, Michael?
I'm good. So maybe if we're waiting for another minute or two for people to come, Joseph. Oops. All right.
What's up, guys?
Good. Come on, someone tell a joke meanwhile, while I let people in the waiting room. I have a really long horse joke, but I don't think you're going to want to hear it.
Now I want to hear it.
I have one.
Okay, go for it, man.
Michael, if I say my joke, you'll say your joke, okay?
Mine is like 2 minutes long, so forget it. You go.
It's not a joke.
All right.
If it's too
So, have you seen the movie called Constipation?
Oh no, that sounds bad.
I think we'll
Have
say
you,
no.
Michael?
No, I haven't. Could you tell us about it?
It's because it hasn't come out yet.
Oh man.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
I know.
I'm so happy we're recording.
Oh, it's recorded. Oh, you heard that? Yeah. I want to. I
Give
want
it a
to
1
be
out
on
of
mute right
5.
now.
1 out of 5.
Anyone new that's joining, if you're not saying,
So
you're more than welcome to speak, say whatever you want, but just mute yourself if you're not talking.
There we go. Hey guys, what's up?
Hi.
What's up, Big Ern?
Hey, there he is, David, man. It's good to see you.
Likewise, brother.
So I like to start on time. I think we have a nice group. Oh, still people coming in. I'd like to just one last time ask anyone that's joining to mute yourself if you're not saying anything. And I think we can start. What do you think? Should we wait another minute, let people, or you want to give one more joke, Joseph, and then we'll start, or are we ready?
I can't joke today.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's give it another 1 minute. So what we'll do is we have, first of all, thank you for everyone for joining. I really appreciate taking the time. We're going to be talking today about templates on Vibo 2.0. Some of you already upgraded to 2.0. Some of you haven't. Whoever wants to can join me on a one-on-one. We're still doing it personally to make sure we're getting all the feedback. And special thanks to Rachel and to Ricky and to Brian for agreeing to share their knowledge, and they've been working hard on their templates. So what we're going to do is just an open discussion where we'll start off with Brian B, and then Rick and Rachel can kind of join in, and I hope it just joins into a discussion. Feel free to ask questions. We're going to talk about the layout, the settings in terms of different questions that we have inside the sections based on feedback from 1.0, but also different things that we can now do on 2.0. I'll just give a quick overview of what we can do that's different compared to 1.0, is that we're able to ask now questions in the sections. So that's, I think, a game changer in terms of how you build your templates. And a second thing that's different is you can also change the settings per section. So I think that's the biggest difference that you're going to see when kind of they'll be sharing the way that they built their templates. So I know behind the scenes a lot of work has been done by these three DJs specifically, and I know all of you have been starting to play around with your templates. So I'd love to hear all the feedback. So Brian, let's take it away. I'll mute myself, and again, thanks for everyone for joining, and let's start.
All right. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you having me, man. And I guess I think I was probably one of the first ones that jumped on the platform and helped Mike create this. I just basically transferred what I had been using previously and put it exactly into Vibo. And I would say over the last couple of years, I feel like my clients specifically, even though I, give them the links, everything to fill out everything. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but for me, I feel like my clients don't want to fill out a long planning form. It's just like it's changed over the years. They don't, even though you ask a million times, it's just not something that they want to do. And I think it's kind of, just like the changing of the guard, sign of the times, people just want something quick and easy. So I really thought long and hard about when we moved over to 2.0 of like, what are the key questions that I absolutely have to have before I actually talk to them or do their event that would make my event successful? And by the way, I should probably preface this. I'm sure Rachel and Rick will say the same thing, but like, there's no perfect way. Everybody has totally different clients, different markets. So what works for one may not work for somebody else. So don't feel like, you don't have it right or whatever. I think we're all going to learn from one another. And I can't wait to hear what these other two have to say too. So Mike, should I share my screen kind of? Is that what you wanted me to do? Because I can do it. I'm ready.
Yeah, I think it would be most beneficial to do it like a hands-on workshop.
Okay.
Show us what I think. By the way, the templates in Vibo version 2 is something that you kind of helped me build.
Okay.
So we'll see what you changed since then, because it's been about a month since we added those.
Just so that I can like stay focused and not get sidetracked. Maybe if you guys have questions, put them in the chat. And then like, Mike, if you think that they're relevant at any point, like while I'm talking, just like stop me. Otherwise, I'll look at the very end, and I'm not going to take long because I want these other two to jump in here more than me. I just want to really quickly go like high level, like 35,000 foot view of what mine looks like. And then we'll just go from there if that's cool.
Yeah,
so let me
I'll monitor the pages. So anyone that wants to ask a question, just write something in the chat.
All right, let me hit minimize here, move this thing down. Okay. So first thing first, obviously, this is one of the biggest things was the fact that we can put it in the timeline, right? So what I did is I created this thing that says answer these questions first of the timeline. I think one of the hardest things about version 1.0 is that, you know, you had to find that little link to try to be able to click on. And I think that's partly why I wasn't getting as much, you know, participation in it. So I put this at the top of the timeline, and I'm literally looking for like maybe 10 questions, I think at the most. And obviously attendance is big. I need to know this for the way that I do my production and just to know for assistance and things like this. And ironically, it does change, especially during COVID times, right? Like what you sell it for might completely look different from an attendance perspective as people maybe get cold feet and they don't want to travel, or who knows, just a lot of different factors. So this is really important for me to have them fill out what the attendance count is, because it also plays into the production I'm bringing as far as speakers, fill speakers, things like that. Wedding color palette, just for me, I like to know what their colors are so that I can kind of try to, I don't want to say I'm matchy by any stretch, but like if I can infuse a color into a pocket square or a shirt or a tie, whatever the case may be, I just like to get an idea of what their wedding color palette is. It may also play into the types of speakers and DJ furniture or facades I bring based on what the look in the room is. If I know it's all black, you know, I don't want to bring something white to the show. If it's the other way around, obviously. Honeymoon isn't probably one of those questions. It's probably one of the least I need to know. But for me, one of the things I do is gifting at the end of the show. So I always like to know where they're having their honeymoon and when they're going, because I usually send something to their honeymoon spot. So I always like to know where that is if they're doing it. Last couple things here, social media handles. It's becoming less and less. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I'm getting less and less people putting in handles. I'm sorry, not handles, hashtags, I should say. So sorry, I skipped that. Handles, I usually already know that ahead of time, but I like to get that. The other one too is the wedding website. I like to scour that before I have my meeting with them, see if I can pick up any other nuggets from what they've put in their story. Maybe there's some kind of song correlation or anything like that. These next two questions are pretty big for me. It's like, what do you like or don't like from weddings you've been to? It really helps me kind of format the meeting, and I can address questions or concerns and try to tailor it based off what they like and don't like. I feel like I'm super chameleon-ish. I mean, obviously I have my preferences of the weddings I like to do, but sometimes I get a bride or groom where they didn't give me a whole lot of info going into it, or maybe they saw some things at weddings that they've been to that they didn't like or liked. And so getting these questions helps me kind of get in the right frame of mind, and it refreshes me. Like usually I'll do the meeting about 30 to 60 days prior. So I'm going to look at this again about the week of and just remind myself, especially this year when we have like triples and quadruple weddings happening, just to remind myself, okay, this is the bride that doesn't like this or that, right? This is a biggie for me too, rating your crowd on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 doesn't like to party, 10 loves to party. Obviously, they don't always get this right. I've had people put a 4 and, you know, they're ragers, and the other way around too. Oh, 10 plus. And then I get there and it's like a 2, right? So, but more often than not, it's usually right as far as where they have it. These other ones are just more or less just trying to get some personalization out of them. How long have they known one another? This usually plays into things that like their crowd and things like that. Sorry, I'm getting stuff coming in here. Where did you meet? Again, this just gives me a little bit more intel to them personally. Nothing that I'm really going to probably do with unless there's something musically I can do or interactive or whatever. Any fun fact, if you have a photographer, how long are they scheduled to be there? I think this is pretty important too, because for me, I try to like customize these orders based off of a lot of different factors. And one of them is how long the photographer's there. Because if they're only there for a couple hours, obviously certain things need to fit in different ways. And then just anything else that they want to tell me. This is an additional notes for me. It's additional notes for them. So that's at the top of it. And I just want to get that information. With that, I can literally put together the timeline when we actually get on the phone call with them. But I try to get them to put this stuff in there. And yeah, so that's kind of the big questions there. Sections wise, I don't really want to get into that really unless you guys want me to, but I'd rather just talk about the timeline the way I put it together. One of the things I found, and actually this is one of my DJs who actually did this for me, or I saw him do it on his timeline. he put up here, put your cocktail hour song request here, dinner request song here, and dancing request song here at the top, not in the order where it would be. And I love that because it was really easy for them to find it on the timeline. They didn't have to go like searching down in the timeline template, like maybe towards the end of dinner is where the dancing is. It was at the top. It was super easy for them to put their request in. And in lieu of cocktail hour and dinner requests in the actual timeline, as we work our way down, I put that as an activity, or I don't know how it's phrased as here, but let me see here, add section, section without songs. Obviously that's how they do that there. So having it at the top for me has been really helpful because it's easy for the client just to go right to those sections, and I'm giving them directions, right? And I also brought the don't play up too, so it'd be easy for me to reference.
Right, when you print it out, you move them before you
Yes.
print, you keep them on the top.
Usually I try to move them to the bottom, the very bottom, once they get locked out or whatever. I lock them out 3 days prior, as far as that stuff goes. And really the timeline for me is just more or less just what I would standard do. Obviously we customize it. I won't get really into the questions too much because I don't think it really plays. It's not that big, but I just try to keep them basic. You know, as we go into, I'll just go into grand entrance wedding party, you know, in order, please name the party. I don't think this is anything revolutionary here. And how would you like your wedding party introduced? First name, first and last names. I try to keep these questions as minimal as possible because I want to fill these out for them during the call. I don't want them to necessarily do this ahead of time. It makes me look like the expert when I'm on the call with them too, by the way, as we go through them. If they do answer them ahead of time, great. I still will probably go over it with them. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather give my time, relent my time to the other two and let these guys talk about their templates. But I wanted to make sure I hit on the questions as far as that stuff goes. So with that, was there anything question-wise that anybody had on anything? If you have anything, you can unmute since I didn't see anything in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to the other two.
The main thing that people were asking is, when are you doing the video, the introduction video?
Oh yeah, we're working on that. We got that on the schedule.
I'm waiting for just a little sneak peek. I'm waiting for Apple Music import in about a month or maybe 2 months, and then we'll do it.
Sounds good. Rachel, you want to go?
Sure. So I will pull up my screen here. So just give me 1 second. Share. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Is this working?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, cool. So let me just start off by saying that I just transitioned from, believe it or not, paper timeline to the Vibo timeline. I was stubborn. I'm going to be fully transparent. I didn't love the first version of Vibo, the timeline. So I just stuck with my pen and paper. It worked. It was simple. And this new revamp, going over all the details and nuances with Michael, encouraged me to really utilize and maximize all the features of this new 2.0. So first, I want to say the team has been working hard, and so far, I love everything that's been implemented. So literally the past 48 hours, actually that's a lie, probably the past 5 days, I've been working on this because I've actually been trying to convert my 2020 clients onto this new platform, right? Because I had all these events before the new release was. So I worked on new templates. I went through sending all of these to my new clients. And so far, it's been really well received. So I pretty much took Brian's template. I thought he did a really good job with it. The foundation of the questions is already there. So I highly recommend that if you guys really don't want to start from scratch, they're great templates to start out with. So pretty much what,
right? Rachel, V2, I think.
I'm sorry?
I think it's wedding template V2. That's the one that you tweaked.
Let me check it out. So down here, these are the pre-made templates. Now, my first suggestion to Michael was to label these a little better, just because it's a little vague in terms of what they contain and why you would choose one over the other. So that's something that maybe we as a team could all work on so that you guys have a better understanding of, well, what's in version 1 and why would you pick version 1 over version 2, right? They're a little vague. So we'll work on that for you guys. So pretty much what I did was I took his wedding version 1. You have to copy it or clone it in order to edit it, and then it puts it in your templates. So since I've made changes to it, I've labeled them as mine so that I don't get confused with what was a standard template in Vibo versus the ones that I've personally kind of massaged and created. So for my clients, I pretty much have 3 standard templates that are going to work for about 95% of my clients, and that's here. So obviously we have our LGBTQT, and then we have your standard wedding with the garter and bouquet toss, and then the couples that kind of don't want that. Usually everybody has ceremony, everybody has cocktail hour. Now, if I had a couple that just was hiring me for reception only, literally what I would do is I would clone one of mine again, open it up, and then just delete the sections that weren't relevant. I wouldn't keep remaking the templates and re-adding the questions, because once you have a solid template that you dig, I would just keep cloning it and altering it based upon what you need for your future events. So just to go over some differences between what I did versus Brian. So I actually have an experiment going. If I go actually back to my events, I literally have kind of a 50-50 split between putting the categories or the song request list up at the top versus within the timeline. And I kind of want to see what feedback I get from my clients. Do I have a better kind of turnaround time, just to see what works better versus having them loaded up front versus them being embedded in the timeline. My personal preference, I kind of liked the embedded in the timeline just because it's chronological and it makes sure that everything gets filled out. I added a couple of questions that I think may be helpful for some of the people. I love the majority of his questions. I did remove some of the more personal ones, like about the honeymoon and something interesting about you, because I'm already getting that information kind of on our phone call during the initial booking. I'm sending this after they've already booked me. So I kind of already know it. So I just removed some of the redundant things. What I added is what time are you expecting your guests to arrive, so that I know kind of when I need to be up and running by. So if they have a 3 o'clock ceremony and they told everyone to be there at 2:30, I know that up front. I wanted also to know, the planner, the coordinator, the videographers. I kind of want all that contact information up front. I also added how interactive do you want your DJ? Do they want someone leading activities and games and things like that? Or do they just kind of want music being played? What are your expectations of the DJ? So we kind of know that up front, and then any information that you should know. So I just added a couple of extra questions on my own behalf. I then literally went through the template and added these, what are these labeled as in the program? I think descriptions only in each section, so that the couple kind of knows what I'm looking for and what they need to do. And I tried to make it as conversational as possible. The ceremony section is probably my next most detailed questionnaire, simply because there's a lot involved in it. I want to know if the ceremony is in the same location as the reception. Are they having any live music? Do they expect me to provide sound for that event? I even asked, do they want wireless microphones? Sometimes couples like to keep things a little bit more subdued and intimate. Sometimes they say, yes, we want everybody mic'd up, so I know how many mics to bring that day. And everything else is pretty straightforward, like what Brian had. The introductions was a little interesting for me to kind of lay out in text to make sure that I got what I needed. So I added some direction as to, let me see if I can go to, hold on, this screen's blocking me here. Let me go to my settings. I limited their song choices to 4. And then I said in my questionnaire, if we come down here, I kind of gave them guidance as to what amount of songs work. So for example, you'd have song 1 for your flower girl, ring bearer, then the wedding party, then the maid of honor, best man, and then their song. So I'm trying to limit them picking, 50 different songs. Now, if that's something they want, I said, we can do that. Please include it so they can write it down. But I'm trying to encourage them just to keep it simple and organized and pretty straightforward. Everything else, I guess I pretty much left the way that he had it with the grand exit. I asked if they're doing any type of sparkler send off or something similar, just to make sure that I'm help coordinating that and that we have, all the supplies and details and the videographer, photographers present for that. So if I have to move it up on the timeline or something, I can. And of course, any announcements, shuttle, there's a pizza station, pick up food on the way out kind of a thing. I also added a slow dance section. I wanted to make sure that they felt comfortable to add slow dances. And I even kind of put in a little description to kind of encourage it. They're a great idea throughout the event to allow the non-dancers to have a chance to participate and also create a great, moment for photo opportunities and things like that. So I actually made a dedicated section just to slow songs to make sure that they don't forget about them. Now, if they don't want any slow songs, they can say, nope, just keep rocking the dance floor. We don't want any. And that's okay too. And then a separate don't play section with that. So I think that's pretty much it. I think another thing would be really cool to accomplish today is we know that wedding formats over the country, they're sometimes different. What might happen in the Midwest isn't the same thing might happen over on the East or West Coast. What might be going on in New Jersey might look a little different in Connecticut. So what I wanted to help Michael curate is to see if we missed anything or if our timeline doesn't look like your timeline and maybe what would be different about that. And then to properly label them with these basic master templates to get these in here for you guys. So if you are hosting a Midwest wedding and there's some unique tradition that we don't do over here, we can have it there. I think the point of these templates is so that new DJs or even just, seasoned DJs that might be taking on a unique or different type of event to go in there with confidence, knowing that they kind of know how to do this, right? So if you've never done a quinceanera, I mean, this template better be on the money, right? With the timeline and the questions, if you've never done one, because this is what I'm relying on to kind of communicate and organize with my clients. So I've kind of volunteered to help Mike curate these timelines. So that's kind of what we wanted to do with this meeting, is just to get everybody together, brainstorm, let us know if there's something you'd like to see or a template you'd like created, or if there's something you need massaged or tweaked for your purposes. Now, they're really easy to do on your own, but if there's a common thing that we could do to make it easier for you folks, I think that was kind of the goal here. So with that, I'll pass it over to Rick, unless there's any questions, of course.
First of all, very awesome. I see there's a few comments, a question. Why does why does the event image have a square aspect ratio and a zoomed in vertical? So we're gonna make the vertical like an option, I think within maybe less than a month, because some people said it was a little bit annoying. The reason that we added the vertical crop is that when they send an invite, they're gonna be able to send like a photo, which is full screen on the phone of them, like a really beautiful invite. But we realized it's a little bit
Yeah, it
annoying
looks
to
really
find
cool.
photos that are exactly that way. That's the reason for anyone that asks.
Pull that video up.
Brian, Brian,
I just
add
want,
something.
yeah, I just wanted to ask you, Michael, can you explain the percentage? Like, how is it weighted? Is it weighted with just the timeline? How do you weight the percentage of how much is complete? Because I don't even remember. So can you
What?
talk about that for a second?
Sure. The percentage of the songs or the percentage?
No, the percentage of completed, I think, right? I thought I saw on Rachel's it said like 39% completed or whatever for a certain couple.
If there's 100 songs throughout the whole event, it'll be every song is 1%.
So it's songs. It's not necessarily planning, or was there a different category for planning percentage?
Questions. There's
Questions.
There's two percentages that we added. Number
Okay.
one is going to be how they're doing with all the questions throughout their whole event. And the second percentage, like the progress bar, is how many special moment sections they filled out. A special moment section is any section that has a low limit. So if it has any limit from 5 songs and under, it's considered a special moment, and then it'll count how they're doing with those special moments to get them kind of going on the first dance and all those stuff.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let's any more questions, or can we let Ricky show around a little bit? All right, Rick. Someone wants you to say quinceañera again.
When did I say that? Who?
No, me. Why did I butcher it really bad? Quinceanera?
Quinceañera.
Is that quinceanera? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Come on, no one Latin in the crowd. Where's William?
I'm looking for a Latin DJ. I need
We
one.
have a few Latin DJs in the crowd. Someone has
Oh,
to.
that was me. That was me. Yes, it's quinceañera.
Move to North
Gotta-
Carolina. I need you.
Quinceañera.
Gotta roll that R. Yeah, and I'm all the way up in Washington State. That's what's even funnier. I'm like the furthest from the Mexican border there is.
All right.
I'm pulling up. Okay, I'm in my head going, what do I want to show? Okay. Yeah. I was going to show my phone screen because I thought that would be interesting. Switch up the show with the phone is on.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
a
I'll
good
start there because that's a better thing. Let me pull up the Zoom that I have. I joined it on my phone too. So, what do I do to share my screen? This is new to me. I don't use Zoom. If anybody was wondering, I use Google for meetings. So what the heck? Screen. Got it. I think you guys can see my screen. Yeah, there we go. I can see it too. Awesome. Cool. So this is the Vibo on the phone. Just wanted to give everyone kind of a different perspective. Not sure how many people have switched over or not. But I guess kind of it's a little different layout. It's a lot cooler. I did want to talk about how some of the things we ran into heavily with 1.0 that were just struggling between me and my other DJs. One, planning questions were just not getting answered because they're in a completely different section. They had to click on a link to go to the planning questions. So now they're integrated, which is amazing. Song limits per section. We had many weddings where you can only set a limit for the total. So like the limit was 100 and we had people putting in 100 dinner dancing, 100 prelude, 100, like we had 400 songs in one wedding. We're like, this is not going to work. Like we can't play 100 songs at dinner. It's just way too much. So now you can limit it per section. That's awesome. What else we got? Me and Michael have been going back and forth. I've helped him. I don't know what we started on this about a year ago now.
Maybe
crazy.
more.
Yeah, we started designing this and seeing what it would be to lay out. I also had questions on what songs need to go in each section. And this answers it too. And it was a little confusing. So the new layout is just extremely clean. Like it looks like an iTunes app, like Apple made it or something. It's awesome. And there's a dark mode coming, right, Michael? There's a dark mode coming.
Soon.
Coming soon. All right. So this is the main dashboard. So there's info on the DJ. I like that we added at the bottom now where they can share this with a friend. So you can put all your links in here. You can put in your social media contacts for everything possible. So they can see all the info on their DJ. We went over the progress bars, but this is what it looks like in the app. So they can clearly see how much left they need to do. That's huge for the planning forms and everything. We have the date, etc. You can download, and with the planning form now, you can actually select what you want on the actual forms that you print out, the PDF. And this might change later on, but there's a lot more customization with printing out your planning forms prior and for them to download it as well. Let's see what else we got in here. So getting into planning questions, so it's separate. Inside of planning questions, you can see the progress and they can see their progress on every section. And I use the same template from Vibo. I started with one that had emojis and then I tweaked it to what I had prior in Vibo 1.0. But kind of just wanted to show how the percentages and everything look on here. When it's completed, it gives them a green check, etc. So my timeline might be different than a lot of people's as well. A lot of questions are the same. I always like to ask what year they graduated high school. That always gives me a good vibe for what music they were listening to around that time, that era. The liked question, that's a carryover, colors. I always ask, people could probably won't figure that out, but I always ask if we can video blog it because I have to get permission to post these on YouTube and stuff like that from the couple. So that question is in my planning form. Venue contact info. Yes, I put an age matrix in here. So it's just something they can fill out if they have time, but it breaks down how many children, teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. That'll give my DJs a good idea of what they need going into it. There's ceremony questions. I don't think there's any really relevant questions in here that matter. So the planning question, that's just where they go in, they answer all their planning questions. Is kind of where they start. And then they would move on to timeline music. And before I get to that, I want to point out, I made this custom image. This is the image that comes with Vibo, but I put on here, please change this to a photo of you two, because that is huge for us to be able to scroll through when we have 100 events in there, to be able to see the faces of our brides and our grooms, etc. It's not a big thing for them. They can customize it, but it's a huge thing for the DJs on our end when we have a bunch of events to look through. So I made that there. I started that last year. It works really well of getting them to actually switch the image. Timeline and music.
Canva? Use Canva to edit it?
I use Pixlr, pixlr.com. It's my editor. It's a free Photoshop editor. It's pixlr.com, pixlr.com. But so when they click on the timeline music, it looks exactly like the planning questions, except everything is in here like you guys have seen on the other ones. So if they clicked on general info, they get all the questions again. It's all right here. And there's also a notes section as well that they can type in notes between the DJ, etc. So if we get to a music section, this is where you'll see under songs, you can actually set up what these songs are supposed to be. So it gives them a memo of what songs they need to put in this area. So music to be played pre-ceremony while guests arrive. Believe it or not, brides and grooms, you probably have been through it. Ask what is prelude music because they don't know. So in every section, I kind of tell them what that question or what I'm looking for. Family progressions, please select songs for the parents walk, etc. So every section has kind of a list of what the songs are supposed to be. Introductions, upbeat songs to introduce the wedding party into the reception. I thought that was huge. I get a lot of questions on what are these songs supposed to be because they were confused. And then obviously the questions are built into every single section, the notes in every section. When they go to add a song, so they still have the pre-made templates. You guys can go in, make your own. You can import from Spotify, add them in there. I haven't done that yet. That's on my list to add in our Spotify list, but I haven't got to it. But it's already pre-made into the templates to start with, which is awesome. They can still search for a song, or now on import, they can add a missing song via link, which is huge because I had a lot of people ask me, I can't find the song in the search. So how can I add it? And now there's a way for them to just paste in a link from any source and Vibo will match it and add it in. So it's just overall a lot more user-friendly to work with. Yeah, I like the emojis. Helps it out.
Were the ones that we added or they yours?
Which ones?
Like
Wait, what?
These emojis, did you edit them or the ones that you found in Vibo?
Some of them are yours. I added more because I tried to find an emoji for everything because I just find it easier when you're looking through to differentiate. I know you were mentioned you didn't know if you liked it or not. I liked it.
Yeah, I was debating if I thought it was like good or not. So it's nice to see it.
Everyone can leave in the chat what they think. Obviously inside of each section, if you click on the little 3 dots, I believe, yeah, this is where you can get into the settings where you can limit the songs, you can limit the must plays. You can do this on the desktop too. Add in the section description. The section can have songs, it cannot have songs. The time, you can have a time, it cannot have a time now. It's just so much more customizable for your templates. It's awesome. Allow host a custom song order. That's a new feature.
What sections did you use? Did you let them custom order?
I turned on custom order for everything. Not that they need to have it. The only thing they really need custom order for is like introduction songs. So like wedding party introductions, if they have multiple songs, that would work. So like in cocktail, if they wanted to do custom order here, they can hold down and click and drag. So I don't know what that was, but hold down, they can click and drag and they can move and do their custom orders. I guess this is a cool thing to show that couples, when they click on a song, they can add a comment, make it a must play, move it to a different section, do not play, remove, and they can also swipe through the songs, which is cool. I like going through the app. This is just my personal favorite part about it because this is what the clients interact with. Everyone else covered the desktop, so I figured I'd cover the app. I don't know. Does anybody got questions on what they want to look at? I can't. Where's the chat at? I need to make it bigger.
Jump in. Let's see what.
I got a question. So Rick, did you do all the editing with the emojis through the app, or did you do it from your desktop?
You know, now that I think about it, it probably would have been easier if I did it on my phone, but I did through the desktop. I had an emoji generator window open in the browser. Oh man.
So what you could
probably would have been easier.
Is you can create an event on the phone, edit it on the phone, and then on the back end you can save that event as a template.
Yep.
It's easier for you guys to do it that way.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if I'm trying to think if there's anything else inside the app that would be cool to show, but it just makes things a lot easier. How do I leave? Oh, stop sharing. I guess one thing I'll mention is if you guys are on Vibo 1.0 and you're transferring to Vibo 2.0 and you want to get your clients transferred, I went through and I made a screen recording kind of going through the steps with the couple, explaining that this is a brand new app. They have to download the new app. I will transfer all their stuff on the back end, that sort of thing. So literally it's like a 14-minute video, but it's just a screenshot video of my phone, like showing them how the new app works and kind of showing them how much cooler it is than 1.0 to get them to transfer over.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
I can.
This is Kyle Eshelman. I'm in Ohio, and I'm actually truck driving right now, so I'm using a headset, so I wanted to make sure you could hear me. I wanted to ask Michael and Rick, if you know, I don't know. In the app, is there a way for reminders of completion? I use emails for reminders for the client to follow up. But I didn't know if maybe you guys had integrated something about getting like an alert just through the app notification itself saying that they, that, hey, you have only done this much, or you have this far to go, or something like that.
So I'll give my answer, but I'd like to hear other, like Rachel or Brian or Ricky probably use CRMs to remind them. We're going to add push notifications within the next few months. I don't know exactly when, because it's a big like feature, and then we'll slowly start adding these options to do push notifications. So the biggest, like I told you guys, a lot of you already joined 2.0 on one-on-ones with me. The biggest change we made is that we can now make changes. So we're going to be, I have like a 20 page file of all the feedback from every single person. After every meeting, I kind of write it down, and we're slowly going to belt out everything. But that's our side. To hear how you use probably CRM to remind people.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, mine's on CRM. I got Honeybook just like you do. It's set up with automated reminders that tell them to do their planning. Actually, I tell them like how many days are left to the wedding, and just a reminder, hey, fill out your planning form.
Same. But with DJP.
Yeah.
Cool. Rachel, what do you remind them?
I just personally reach out because I don't use a CRM, so I would love those push notifications. I actually also, this is just a personal thing, I have my events locked out 30 days before, just to have kind of like a conversation, just so there's not any crazy last minute changes. I don't want to be running around and scrambling. If someone drops out of the wedding party, obviously there's a crisis. Clearly I can make those changes, but I want it to be like a direct one-on-one conversation. So I stop it like a month before, because usually these people literally have had a year to do this. So I want time to get organized, finalize the details, have them a personal conversation just to make sure everything's on the up and up. So that's when I lock my events out, is 30 days beforehand, not 3. I think Brian said 3, and I was like, oh my God, I'd be flipping out if I had to. Granted, we have to be flexible sometimes, but I'm going to say 99% of the time it's fine. Everything's set in stone. 30 days out, I can print it out and just be cool and calm, kind of a thing. One last thing that I wanted to show, maybe I'm nuts for this and I'm probably going to get hung because this is, really uncool, but I actually took the time because it's such a polarizing topic and I don't want to discourage anyone from something. Oh, so you can see this was Brian's template that I had with the things at the top. Hold on, let me find open dancing questions. Okay, so I didn't do it on this. Like I said, I'm experimenting with a lot of these. Let me find one that I did it on with the dancing. Open dance music. It's not even here either. All right, let me go back to my master templates here. So a couple questions that weren't in the master Vibo template that I added that I think might be important. First was, do you want guests to be able to make requests? So yes, people can walk up and do whatever. No, we only want what we approved in Vibo, but yes, but please use professional discretion. So if somebody wants to come up and hear XYZ and you're like, nah, that's not for this crowd. So I kind of want to give them that option to let me know that. I put in a thing about clean versions of music, so I know kind of what vibe that they're okay with. This was already in the master template of current genres. I don't know if I'm going to keep this because I feel like if they're giving me music they want to hear, I'm already going to know that. So this was already there, but I'll see if I want to keep that or not. I actually took the time to lay out the group dances. Yes, the dreaded group dances. I don't want to discourage anybody from not wanting these, and they might hate some and not the others. So I kind of actually took the time to say, all right, you know what? I know my little nephew loves the cha-cha slide, but I hate the Macarena. So I actually gave them the option to check the ones that they're cool with, or none of them are all, or only if they're requested. I don't know if this is a good idea or bad idea. Like I said, I'm really experimenting with this, but you can really, really customize this a lot. Another mistake that I made, just as kind of a heads up, so I'll show you one event that I have that I'm going to now have to clarify. So where Rick was saying that you can limit the number of songs, where this is the wedding party processional, obviously you only need really one song for everybody to walk down to. I didn't turn this. If you go to settings where it says limit songs to, I didn't have it limited, so they were adding songs, and I should have just put oh, here we go. This was set to 3, so she ended up putting 3 songs instead of 1, and I really find that people kind of need to be, like, told what to do, otherwise they'll just keep filling out stuff because they think that's what they're supposed to do. So now I'm gonna have to ask her, which one did you actually want played? So I had to go through all my other templates to fix that. So make sure when you're going through your sections that you're only allowing the number of songs that actually make sense for that section, or you'll have people giving you more than you needed, which could make it kind of confusing for them. And
I guess a good point on that. So there's yellow sections and there's blue sections right now, and I believe it's 5 songs, right, Michael?
We're changing
Is
it.
the
We're changing it.
it's
to
5? Okay.
It's
So
5.
if it's got 10 or less, it's considered a special moment song, which goes into that percentage right there. If it's blue, like cocktail hour or open dancing, that doesn't go into like the category of how many songs do they need to do on the percentage calculation up front, on the front screen or whatever. Also, Rachel, one thing I just kind of was glancing at it,
Yeah,
on
please go
your
ahead.
on your question for what songs they don't want, you don't have that says check boxes, so they can only select one. You might want to make
Right.
it
So
was
it
on
was
that
done
template.
as right. So what I'll do is I'll change it now so everyone can see again, so there's no mistakes. So this was in the dancing category, right?
Yeah, the
There's a
one
difference between a checklist where they can select multiple, and then there's,
a
you know,
single
like yes, no,
selection.
or singular selection. So where the heck is dancing?
It
See,
was
this
in a
is
different file you were in, or a different wedding you were in.
oh, maybe it was just my template because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it was
So
it was the I think it was that LGBT one or something.
let me try this one. So if we go to dancing, then we go to questions. So what he's
Yeah,
talking about,
right there.
yeah, right here. So see how it says multiple choice? It shouldn't be that. It should be oh yeah, it should. Oh no, check boxes.
Yeah.
So now they can select multiple. If you do just multiple choice, it's kind of like one or the other. So just be mindful about that. It's really easy to click the wrong thing. So my last kind of tip recommendation is what I'm starting to do, because again, this is a whole learning process. I've actually never used a Vibo timeline within the app or anything before, is I created a sample event for myself. I sent it to myself as like one of the hosts, and then I'm going through on my phone to experience what the client does to see if it makes sense, if it's orderly, if it's like too many questions and fatiguing. Like I want to put myself through what I'm asking them to do. And like, you know, Rick, if I would have done that, you know, that's something I would have picked up on, you know what I mean? So that's a recommendation.
Same.
If you got a lot of different templates, go through them, you know, as a client and just kind of, you know, see if everything makes sense. Okay. I'm done talking now with that.
Awesome. Anyone else want to share any experiences with templates related?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go for it.
So my question is, I guess for anybody.
Okay, wait, there's a lot of people. Jason? Okay.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah, we're with you.
I have a few weddings, probably roughly 5 or 6 here, that I have sent the link in a text message, and it's the standard, hi, here's a link to download our app and start playing the timeline or planning the timeline for your music. I guess my question is anybody else doing something different, like a little more personal than just the standard message that they're sending out? Because like I said, I've sent that link to all of my, of course, all the links are different, but I mean, the 5 or 6 that I have, it doesn't show in the app that they've even logged on, or, I have no way of telling if they've even downloaded the app, but they haven't created the account yet. I was just kind of curious if anybody else is doing something different, a little more personalized, to where they actually download the app and create their account.
Yeah, to answer that, I actually do mine. I don't use the automated features of Vibo to send out invites to any of my clients. So when someone books with me, the first thing I do is text them and say, hey, thanks for book or whatever. And then I tell them I'm going to be sending you a link to Vibo, and I email it to them. And it's like a personalized email that says, hey, this is the app for Vibo, blah, blah, blah. It works on these devices. Click this link and it will take you to the app store to download it. Then you'll log in. And then below it, I have a link to a video, which is that screenshot video of me walking them through how the app actually works. And then I have built into my follow-up system for either myself or whoever the DJ is, I think it's a week later, to text them and make sure they've joined the app. So that's how I do it.
I do. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying that's a better way. And I just was always using the, sending it through them in a text, but I like that idea better. Sending it through in an email. And then if you want to kind of touch base down the road in a text message, it's kind of better that way. I think I kind of like that. So.
And the last little touch that I did, I will share my screen one more time here. I don't know how I feel about the wording with it yet, but let's see, let's go to this one. So I put my name in here and personalized it just a little bit, so it didn't seem as like generic and spammy, because it was kind of like a what is this, who is this, and if they didn't remember Vibo or like that I was even sending it, they might get confused. So I just put, hey, it's DJ Rachel, open this link on your phone to download the Vibo app and start planning for your wedding. And then I even put, if you have any questions, or any problems with the app, and then I just put my direct phone number right there. So I kind of put my name in all of these just so they know who it's from, what it is like a little reminder. Oh yeah, the DJ said she was going to be sending that. I still do the email and the same thing Rick did. But even this default message, I just made it a little bit more personalized than what they had.
Yeah, and you can actually change it in 2.0 now versus 1.0. You couldn't change it.
Right. And you can also even change what their guests see. So if I were so if they were going to send this out, again, so their guests don't think it's like a weird spam link, because unless they call every guest, tell them what they're doing, kind of explain what it is, I would customize this a little bit, maybe for the actual wedding. So if it was Bob and Joe, hi, you've been invited to pick favorite songs for, Bob and Joe's wedding. But, just again, there's some like context with it. I'm still playing around with it, but that's also what I've done.
I have a question. How many sections did you allow guests to join? How many are public and how many are locked out? Is it just the open dancing, or is it also dinner?
For me, it's dinner, cocktail, and dancing. I also wanted to just share my way I send it out too, just for a little bit of context. Similarly to Rachel's, I don't do it on the app. I do it through my CRM, but it just says, hey, music app for your wedding. So it's in the subject line of like what they're getting. Hope this email finds you well. I've included a link, and I personally push this out. I don't do it automated because sometimes I need to insert the link. I'm sure there's a, the little hack that you can make sure it's already in there, but I like to insert it myself. It's pretty user friendly, but if you need a tutorial video on the app, watch this. This is the tutorial video that we currently have. And then I give them a little bonus of like, hey, here's a helpful document for tips for planning the perfect wedding. A lot of couples have found it super useful. You can download it here. And similar to Rachel, I'm available if you need me. Cell phone numbers here. We'll be in touch closer to the wedding date. So that's how I kind of get my word out to that.
Now, what's your feeling, Brian, about the video that you made? Because since we don't have a video for at least, I think, 2 months, should we be using the old video or not using it all? I think we should use the old video.
Yeah, that's what I'm using right now. I mean,
concept, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I would highly recommend everyone take the time and make your own video. That's just my personal recommendation.
Agreed.
Just download a screen. I mean, on iPhones, I think you can just screenshot right from them. I have an Android, so I had to download an app for that. But just start a screen recording on your phone and just say, "Hey, this is Rick, and I'm going to walk you through how the app works." And then end the thing, upload it to Vimeo, put it on your website, put it in your promos, share the link, put it on YouTube if you want, and just share it with them. It makes it more personal, and it seems more like the app is your app, like you are the company's app versus this third party's app. Because the whole goal of this is to integrate the app as being your wedding planning app, like your company's wedding planning app, not I'm using Vibo and every other DJ can also use Vibo, which they can, but sales things.
Totally agree. And the only thing I'd just say is that we did try to keep that video unbranded. So it doesn't say I'm with like Vibo at all, because we wanted to let you feel like, hey, this is just our assistant or whoever. But I agree with Rick. If you can make your own and you have that technology to your, which everyone should have, but if you're capable of doing it, do it.
Yeah, and it doesn't need your face at all. Like mine literally is a screenshot recording of my phone. That's all it is with a voiceover.
I would like to ask if anybody has any questions that they use that have been super successful for you, that like Rachel had a couple good ones, Rick had a couple good ones. Does anybody else have some questions that they use that aren't like your standard, like, you know, who's your wedding party that you found super successful? Alrighty then.
Not everybody at once, you're saying.
Everyone's just full of knowledge.
I have a ton of questions because when we do emceeing, we do quite extensive grand entrances and love stories, and I've always built the questions right into the app before. And when it was a separate web page, it didn't kind of seem as overwhelming. But like our questions, because we're asking questions and giving the options, because they could have up to 10 or 15 people in the wedding party. My question section's got almost 300 questions in it that could possibly be answered. So I'm wondering if I need to pull them out and do them in. I use Tab A as our email system where we can send questionnaires. So I'm debating on whether or not I should pull those things out of the app so it's not so overwhelming in the app.
All I can say for me is that I felt like, to Rick's point, it was really hard to find the original planning form. So I think that was partly why people weren't filling it out for me. But I also feel like people are just changing and they don't want to spend a ton of time on it. So get the most important ones and make that part of the value you're bringing to the planning appointment that you have with them when you sit down with them, and maybe make that part of it. Or right before you have it, say, hey, before we meet, this is something I'd like you to complete. And it can still be in Vibo, but like make it so that you're adding value to that part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just with a lot of that stuff, we still have to actually ask those questions. It's where we ask them whether or not we do it in their app and
Got it.
Because we've literally had to set up a bunch of different templates depending on if we're emceeing or if we're not emceeing, or we're in Canada, so we're a little different. So the norm is usually the DJ is not the master of ceremonies. So
well, and the reason why I love Vibo, one of the biggest reasons, is that if you have an issue with one of your DJs, they get in a car accident, something happens, as the administrator, you can, assign it to somebody else. So having it online would be the way to go, in my opinion. But,
100%, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like I said, we always use Vibo 1. We always use that, but because it launched in a web page, it was a little bit easier because they could answer the big long questions because they could just load it on a computer or something like that. So they weren't.
Can they still do that though, Michael? Can the client go online, or they have to do it through the app?
At the moment through the app, yeah. We got a lot of people that asked, can they do it on the web? There's just so many things we want to do. So there's like a waiting list of features. It's just a matter of what comes first. But yeah, eventually we'll have a web portal for the clients as well.
I wonder if you could use a Google form because you have more detailed questions and put a link into one of the comment questions. I don't know if you can put a link yet in planning form or any of the planning sections, but you could probably put a link to a Google form for them to answer.
The links are active. You can use them in the questions, in the answers, in the questions, and in the notes.
So that might be an idea to use a Google form like that they would go to fill out.
By the
like
way,
set up a Google.
Sorry, Ricky.
You're good.
I'm saying I've seen people that also added a section on the top, people that don't use CRMs, that says link to payment. And then you can add a link to your PayPal, to your Venmo, whatever you want. And they just click on that link in the app. And you can even add a checkbox question underneath and say check once paid or something. And then you can delete the section and get rid of it so that they don't have to keep seeing that payment section on the top. I had another question for you guys. Feel free, anyone, to answer. Did anyone use predefined notes? And did anyone not like sections, anyone in the crowd, like not ask any questions and keep it completely music, like only music? Those are the two questions I had. Anyone that wants to kind of answer that?
When you say predefined notes, you mean just notes that you're going to have in a section before you even send it to them?
Exactly.
Yeah, like what's the bride's father's name for father-daughter dance, those kind of things.
So you can ask it in a question, but now you can also have a predefined note. And in the notes, you can build lists. And coming soon, we also have like tables. So I was wondering if anyone added predefined notes at all.
Are you talking like the note section or like the section note comments?
The section notes. The section notes can be predefined within each section. So
You're saying when they go to songs, it tells them like what this section is? Or are you talking like all the way to the right where it has notes?
All the way to the right. Yeah, all the way.
Okay.
To the right.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, yeah, exactly. Predefined notes, exactly. There you go. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
The answer, no, I'm not.
Okay. And what about anyone have a template with 0 questions?
No.
Okay. Right.
Yes, actually. But Michael, we've been through this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've definitely used predefined notes. I have a couple of, for everyone else on the call, I use a couple of entry points that are just timeline markers that literally remind the customer or the client, say, hey, this is your ceremony begins, and in parentheses, this is a timeline marker. This is just for timeline purposes, sort of keeping track of your time. And so I have used those predefined notes as a sort of marker in a section that otherwise has no questions. That's how I utilize that for everyone else on the call.
I was just looking back through my form. Brian B asked earlier, any other questions that you might ask on your forms? One of them I thought of was, I always try to ask ahead of time if they believe they will want me to be there for a rehearsal, because usually it's like the night before, and I would need to know that ahead of time because I'm going to charge them a fee and I have to block that on my calendar because obviously I can't do another event on that night before. So I always try to ask that because they don't usually think about that, especially a year before their wedding. When it gets closer and they're like, oh, we got to have a rehearsal, and then they're like, oh, is the DJ going to be there? I don't know. So I try to ask that up front. And then also Rachel was talking about section where you ask if you want to allow requests. And I asked specifically, do you want to allow requests? And then do you only want to allow certain people to do the requests? And if so, who are they? Because sometimes they just want their wedding party or just their best man, maid of honor to be able to do requests, but they don't want to let anybody else, something like that. So.
Good stuff.
I have a question. I was a little late to the party, but when you're editing the limited amounts of songs per section, do you have to do that in each event, or is there a way to do it so that's for every event?
You can do it in the templates.
In the templates. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can just set it up in the templates prior to sending or making your events. And then you can edit each event if you want to limit them even more or increase them, etc.
Right, so pretty much what I'm doing to keep it simple, I made 3 really good templates, so all the questions are the same, the timeline is the same, the layout's the same, and then if there's something specific that needs to be changed, I'll copy it and then just change it for that one person. I'm not recreating all the information. So if there's no garter toss, there's no cake, there's no ceremony, I'll just take my master wedding template and just hit the garbage can and delete that section. That way, that 3-song mistake that I made, that's never going to happen again, because once it's correct in the master template, that's what I'm running off of forever, kind of a thing.
I guess one thing that's nice is if anybody used 1.0, once you create an event, you couldn't really edit the planning form once it was created. Now you can go in and edit the questions, add questions, remove questions while the event's going on. So if you made that one bug and you have 20 events already that have that one bug in Vibo 1.0, you couldn't really change it. But now you can go in and change it and modify as you want to go. You can add questions to couples that you thought about later on, etc. That's a really nice feature.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it tells, Michael, you can confirm this, it tells the client that you made an update and it shows that it's kind of new.
No.
Uh-oh.
Whoops. No. Not
It
yet.
doesn't?
Coming soon. Ish.
Because I feel like I had to do a couple changes and it showed me something that it was like revised, or that like an update was made. And I thought that that was for the client to see that like your DJ added something.
That's going to show you, okay, that you're referring to last updated. Rick, can you share your screen from your phone really quickly? It's going to show you when anybody in the event updated something. And it could have been you, it could have been the client. So it's not.
I got to get back on, so give me a sec.
Oh, okay.
So I totally know what you're talking about, because even on the web version, it says last updated, but I swore that there was like a green check mark or something happened with my client view in the questions that let them know that like the DJ updated something. Maybe I'm going nuts. I swore I saw something.
No, we don't have that yet.
Okay.
But
I don't know what I saw then.
the problem is that there's too many good ideas. So it takes time. You see, it says updated 5 days ago. Underneath the first Chelsea and Chris.
So like updated 20 hours ago, updated 4 days ago.
You can click on the right-hand top side, Rick, and filter by last updated. And that's going to show you who made the last change. With like this is a real event, right, Samantha?
Yeah, these are real events. Yeah.
They just added a song 41 minutes ago.
Nice. That's cool to know they're planning.
Yeah. So then you can go in and like, if no one touched the app for a month and you want them to kind of get engaged, you can say, you can kind of know who you want to communicate with and who's kind of like on automatic.
There's a cool feature too. It shows how many days to their wedding right beside the date. So it can stress them out or make them anxious.
Yeah.
Did anybody have any questions or anything they wanted to see while I have my phone up?
Yeah, I actually got 2 questions. First one's probably pretty quick, but for any of you, is there the ability to make it like a CRM so that way you can limit the sections that they have available to them at different points in time? So that way, maybe at the start you just send them the ceremony, or at least for the questionnaires to be able to treat it like a CRM. So that way you send them, say you have 2 or 3 questionnaires you're send them one at a time. So that way it's not overwhelming for them.
What we're doing is that we're adding because a lot of people wanted to make changes after the fact. We're adding something that's called section templates. So instead of when you create a new section, you can create it based on a template for a section, not only a template for a template of an event. And then you can probably add sections based on predefined sections, if that makes sense. And that's something that's coming actually pretty soon.
Okay. Second question, Rick, this was for you. What was the transition process like for you, for your 2020 couples that had to postpone to 2021, transferring them from 1.0 to 2.0?
In progress is the best answer I got for you. So these are all the people I've transferred over. As you can see, we only have 12 in here right now. I think I have 39 sitting in 1.0 right now that need transferred over. One of the best things, and this is kind of something I talked to Michael about on how to transfer them over, that we found out, like for say, where's Brittany and Jimmy? They had 178 songs. Well, that's going to be a pain to transfer over, but what you can do is you can export their playlist to Spotify and then import it from Spotify. And that made transferring them over a lot quicker. But kind of just open up their planning form and start taking the info there to put on their planning form and put it in it. I've basically been going through and nitpicking and finding the ones that haven't really done anything on the app right now and being like, hey, let's transfer you over now before you start putting stuff in there and making my life harder. But I kind of mentioned it earlier. I have a video I created that's me walking through it. So it starts off like, hey, we just launched Vibo 2.0. This is the new app. I want to show you it. I want to get you guys transferred over to it. And I've been like spamming them through my CRM, or CRM. Jesus, I can't type. Oh, there you guys see my girlfriend. Spamming them every like 3 to 5 days with like a blast to everyone that hasn't been transferred over yet. Like, hey, let's get transferred over because I'm trying to knock this out now before we get into busy season. So that's where I'm at on the transfer process, but in process.
And Rick, you use the you can now import Spotify from the web, so it's, I think, easier now.
That's what I was. That's exactly what I was doing. It was all on the web. And some of the ones, like the smaller ones, like where they had just one song, all I did was copy the YouTube link and paste the YouTube link because you can import from YouTube links. So instead of searching or whatever, just copy the YouTube link on the desktop, paste it into the new one. So I have 2 screens up here so I can go back and forth pretty easy and get them transferred over quickly.
Thanks, Rick.
I got a question. Is there still the database for venues in 2.0?
That was a thing?
Venues? It's connected. It's not a database for venues. It's
Google, right?
What's it called? Google.
Well,
I think on we changed it on Apple. It's Apple Maps, and on Android it's Google Maps.
Well, I know I only had to put my information for a venue once, and then every time I logged in, it was there, right?
Yeah, it saves whatever venue is for that event. You put it in the setting or when you set up their profile. It's one of the things when you set up a profile.
Okay, thanks.
I guess we can. I want to show that real quick then. Where's my Vibo screen? Share screen. Choose desktop. Which desktop am I on? I'm on screen 2. Share. So when you go to create a new event, just for reference, create a new event, you put in your title, and believe it or not, it's actually kind of interesting. It remembered all the titles I put in Vibo 1.0. I don't know if that's my browser or whatnot, but it remembered every person's name when I started to type it. So like Callie and Corey, put in their date, event type, wedding, or there's all the other ones, obviously. Template, I only have one. That's all I'm using. And then you put in your event location down there. So Greensboro, I can't spell. And then it starts populating all these events down here based on the map, based on what you're typing. Then create event. This is a feature too. It's new, Michael, the pending versus active. And I know a lot of people are using it for different reasons. I use pending to send leads the app so they can try it out prior to booking with me. It's like a sales thing. And if I get someone to download the app, they're pretty much already a booked client at that point. But you can put it under pending. So when you're looking through your events here, I know that Jamie and Morgan and Julie and Sam, these are pending. Actually, I think they just booked, but these are pending. They're not actual events on my calendar yet. So I send, it's one of the things I try and get them to set up the app prior to booking and stuff. Little sales thing. But before you couldn't put like a status.
Can you show really quickly, unless anyone else has a question, just how you added a link to songs from 1.0 and then imported the Spotify, just for anyone that never saw it?
Sure. Let me click on this. So that was, I had it back here. This is my video transfer video. I pulled that up on the back end, but, and And actually, if you go to my YouTube, I have this link shared. I was trying to show people how it works. But where's my Vibo 1.0 link? We'll use an example here. So who's got songs? 218. Voila. Gonna love transferring that one. I swear I got good internet. So let's see, cocktail hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to export to Spotify, and we can see that they have 43 dinner music. So I'm going to click export to Spotify, export. So this is April 24, 2021. I'm already logged in. Click agree, redirecting you back to Vibo. All right, so that's exported. Then we'll go back here. Where's my demo? This one's my demo one, so I can use it. We'll go to the timeline, and based on the song limits, I have to go to one that has a little bit more because this has 43 songs. Where is Open Dancing? There it is, 50. So you're going to go to songs, and then when you click add song, you can add from a link, search. That's where I was just going back and forth. Import from Spotify. It'll pull up your Spotify. Right there it is. Click the button, and all 43 are now imported. Nice and easy. So you can go through that. That's how I've been transferring back and forth from things. If they say they have one song like this one right here, what I'll do is I'll click on it, and then I will right click it, copy link address, go back to Vibo 1.0. We'll go to cake cutting, add a song from link, paste in the link, add song. Just do that back and forth. Everyone follow on that? Makes sense? But that export to Spotify has saved my butt a couple times at events. I had a venue where it started raining. We were going to have an outdoor cocktail, and we ended up having it inside the winery. And the winery had their own system built into it, but they played on Spotify. So I just exported the Spotify list for cocktail, and I shared it, texted it to the venue, and they started playing it on their indoor speakers, and it saved the day. So keep in mind that export to Spotify is a huge feature that can be utilized pretty well.
Did anyone try the export on 2.0?
I haven't been to that point yet.
All the way on the right-hand side on the top.
I would click on it, but it would tell me that this computer is not synced because this is not my DJ computer. This is my desktop computer. My DJ computer's over here. That's another feature, right, Michael? You can sync multiple laptops now, multiple computers, the libraries.
For the locate files, the prep mode, yeah.
Yep. So when you're prepping, it will sync. You can do different computers now. If you have multiple computers, you can sync your library from multiple computers, which is a really cool feature to add. But
yeah.
That's all.
So I think we're losing some people. We were at 41. We're down to 32. So
these are the serious ones.
Yeah, now we're like hardcore. But I'd love to, anyone else, we have like a forum of amazing, like everybody has things to share. Anyone else have any questions or things to share specifically about their templates? Anyone that changed things that you think we didn't think of that could add value?
Ideas.
Well, I don't have anything to add towards that, but I just want to thank you guys for showing me this. I'm not actually on 2.0 yet. I got to get caught up with some other stuff, and then I'll get with Michael on that. But being a part of this and watching you guys do that, and really taking in some ideas before I even get going on it is really nice. So I appreciate you guys.
All right, great.
You're welcome.
And it was just so you know, it was Rachel's idea to do this, and thanks everybody for joining. Last call for questions. Any feature requests regarding templates? Don't hit me on the head with other things. Anything? I know that people ask for like copy, like so when you're building your template, you can copy a section quickly. We're adding that soon.
Man, that would have been nice.
I have a random question. So when you use the scanner to scan your library, does that like take like more space on your computer, or where does that go when it scans it? I don't know. Does that make sense?
That's you, Michael.
Come on,
Yeah.
someone else could take that one. That's a what's that? Softball. Sure, I can answer it. It's just building an M3U, which is a path that you can just throw into your DJ software. So what do you DJ with?
Serato.
Serato. So you just download the M3U and drag it into your left hand black area on Serato on the bottom, and it'll build a crate for you. And it's creating a
Michael,
tiny
I think her question
wasn't
is
the
when you
Oh, it wasn't my
scan
question.
when you scan the library, it doesn't like duplicate the library or anything.
Oh, God
What
forbid.
does it actually do? It's not adding more to your storage, right, on your computer when it
Yeah,
does
okay, I
that.
can explain it a little bit more. What it does, it builds a map of where your files are. And what we added to 2.0 is also what you like to play. So if you're DJing on Serato or Virtual DJ or anything but Rekordbox, we couldn't really figure out Rekordbox, it was too complicated. It'll know what remixes and what versions you're playing most and put those matches on the top. So the scanner for 2.0 is a little bit smarter. So does that answer your question now, or?
Yeah.
Just like looking, and it's using something called Elasticsearch. So the search is like you can bend the search to find the remixes.
Where does the database
Is that file
sit,
on your
though?
computer?
Where does the database, like text file?
Sorry, we had two people asking the same thing. Who was asking? I got two people at once.
Her question was, is it storing additional information on your computer, or is that file that it creates in the cloud?
It's in the cloud.
Perfect.
Yeah.
My question is there a specific time or a date that 1.0 users should be all on 2.0?
We're going to keep it active for as long as we need to, but we prefer to be honest, it's just to cut costs. We servers and support for 1.0. We want to move as many events as we can, but I presume it's going to be somewhere in the middle of 2022. So don't worry about any events that you have that are really far out. We're going to keep it active, but try and help us as much as you can and move the people that are like low-hanging fruit, people that didn't do a lot of planning, and don't create any new events for 2022.
Cool, thank you.
Awesome.
Quick question, Mike.
Go ahead.
Why is it taking, why do you say 2 to 3 months for a video for the app? It's because you're making updates? Because that's a big deal that a couple of my clients really like with 1.0. When I sent them that video of Brian, it automatically clicked for them. And they was like, oh, I get how to use it now.
Yeah, so I would recommend, and correct me if I'm wrong, to send the same video meanwhile, because it's the same concept. And we want to wait for one more feature, which is the Apple Music import. I think maybe we shouldn't wait. I'm open to doing it earlier if you guys think we should. But I feel like little things we're still moving around, and we have about maybe a month or two until we feel like we're not going to make a lot of design changes, if that makes sense. But I think the first videos can do the trick. Unless you think we should do it earlier, I'm open to it.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, I really wanted one early, but Rick gave me a great idea with that screen share thing. I might just do my own real quick, But the clients like that. I mean, they really love it. When I sent them that video, I think it even brought me in a couple of more clients because they didn't really book with me until I showed them the video, and they was like, "Oh, we got to get this,"
The new app is actually just like, personally, it's so user friendly. Like I've tried it out with a couple people that aren't planning weddings and like just send it to them, like, here, download it and see how can you get through it and stuff. Like my girlfriend was one of them, and she literally just got on there. She's like, oh, so I can start doing this. I can add songs. And she's with it's very intuitive compared to the last one. Was a little bit confusing. This one is very intuitive when they get on there, especially when you can add descriptions on sections on what you're asking for and stuff. And it's a little bit more easier. So one thing you could do is just send them the app to download it and try it without a video.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I think it's really user friendly. I was on a call with Mike yesterday and figured it out, but I'm from Virginia, and people I send stuff to, sometimes they're trying, they just need that little extra oomph And that's what I found out about most people. I think it's easy, but it might not be easy to them.
Where you at in Virginia? Just curious, because you're just north of me.
Richmond,
I got you. Okay, you're a little distance away. Good.
a little bit.
Hey guys, great call. I appreciate the info. I was wondering if this call is going to be posted in the Facebook group or YouTube so we can refer it back to, because I'm not using the new version yet, but maybe when I do start using it, I might can go back to this call.
Yeah,
And-
I'm
and,
recording it. I'll post it in the group and I'll add it also to the assets folder.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And also like we can have a thread and people can add, even the people that aren't here, and then whenever I do think of a good question or something valuable I can add, I definitely will add it on there. So I appreciate Rick, Rachel, Michael, and everybody else that's put in the work. Great job, guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, Michael,
was my
question. I had a private question sent to me, but are we going to be able to share like my template and stuff with everyone else? Because
Yeah,
I got a person that privately messaged me and asked if we're going to be able to like share my template or Rachel's templates,
if
etc.
you're willing. So I feel like I'm promising too many features, but the good thing that we can actually change faster than before, and I think sharing templates could be a feature. But until we have that, we can, if you're willing to share it, anybody in here that wants to share their template with anyone, share it with, let me know, private message me, and I'll have my guys do it on the back end. And I think it could be literally like within next week, we can have any template that you want to share. I'll post it as a Vibo template.
Yeah, you can go
Yes,
ahead.
I'm happy to do so.
that, please.
Happy to do so as well. So if anyone wants any of Brian, mine, or Rick's templates, I'll be more than happy to share it.
Jared too. Oh, Jared wants to share. Jared wants.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah, I found out about this with Rick and Rachel's YouTube videos. So I really appreciate you guys sharing not only your knowledge and your templates and all that. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I'll look mine over, but I'm for sure you can put mine up there.
Amazing. So yeah, I'll contact you after. Anyone else want to share? Rachel, Rick, anyone else have something valuable? Let me know after the call and I'll post that as well. And we need a good quinceañera template. If anyone's doing quinceañeras and has a fire template, let me know. That I'm looking
Only if Rachel says it. I want that.
I don't know how to
soundbite.
pronounce it. You can
I
only
want
submit a
that
template if you
I
can
want that
pronounce.
soundbite of Rachel saying that because I do quinceañeras up here, and I would love to have that in the background.
And I think we also need a better UK template. Anyone from the UK around here?
Yeah, I'm UK.
Michael, we need a good UK template.
Yeah, I can show you one out. It's a little bit different for events over here. Yeah, it's a bit different, but
I think also our cool. All right, guys. So I think let's wrap up. Let's keep it. We were an hour 23, and there was 3 minutes of a joke in the beginning by Mojo. So, and I'll keep my horse joke for the next time, just to keep you on your tiptoes. So that's going to be next time. But thanks again, really, for everyone that joined. Brian, that's not here. Thank you, Ricky and Rachel. Not to mention that this is everybody that's here is volunteering. So thank you again. And I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for everyone.
Keep
Happy New
vibing.
Year. Bye.